Lately, social media has been blowing up with the sugar diet. People are eating pure sugar for a fast way to lose weight. I'm not even kidding. And it's exactly what it sounds like. You're basically eating a pure sugar and no fat and a tiny portion of a lean protein for dinner. What does the meal plan look like? People are stocking up on actual sugar, like pure cane sugar, honey, fruit juices, ice cream like sorbet ice cream, and candy. You might as well call this diet the cocaine diet. Does it work? Absolutely. You're literally taking in drug foods 24/7, so you're all stimulated, and it prevents you from learning how to become mentally tough and develop the tools that are going to not only help you lose weight and maintain it for the long term, but also allow you to learn how to thrive in all other areas of your life. But these influencers are hiding a few things that you really need to know if you decide to do the sugar diet. Hi, I'm Dr. Zaldivar, and I managed to lose and maintain over 35 pounds despite struggling with being overweight from a very young age. I did that by raising my baseline dopamine levels and also speeding up my metabolism via a process called reverse dieting. I also quit my nutrition and exercise professor jobs at the University of Miami and the American College of Sports Medicine and elsewhere so I could focus on reaching a wider audience online. Here's really what's going to happen once you do the sugar diet to lose weight. Number one, you're going to start seeing massive reductions in your muscle mass. We already have a problem maintaining enough muscle mass every time we lose some weight. Every diet that you get on, no matter what kind of diet you're following, there is always a little bit of muscle mass that you're going to lose. This is why you should never go on a diet without appropriate strength training alongside with it so that you maintain as much as possible some muscle. The more muscle you're going to lose, the slower your metabolism is going to get. And so this is why after a dieting phase, it is so important that you understand the principles of reverse dieting and how to speed back up your metabolism so that you can maintain this new lower body weight without having to eat very little foods. You're going to suffer massive nutrient deficiencies, specifically those B vitamins that are so critical for optimal brain function so that you can create optimal levels of serotonin and dopamine and endorphins. You won't be getting any iodine, you won't be getting any omega-3s, no creatine, carnosine, taurine, all of those nutrients that we struggle already to get enough of. And so if you're going to create those deficiencies, the more time you spend on a sugar diet, the rebound effect can be really catastrophic. Something that scares me the most though is what you're going to do to your gut health. When you're eating those sugars, you're going to provide ample fuel for the growth of candida, which is a type of yeast that can overgrow on those kinds of diet. Also, you're going to increase small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO. And if you or someone you know has struggled with gut issues, they usually have had some form of intestinal dysbiosis or SIBO, and it is a very difficult and long journey to heal that. And the more time you spend feeding those kinds of bacteria and yeast, the longer then you're going to have to spend trying to heal your gut. The sugar diet gives me flashbacks because when I work with most clients, they almost always have gone through a vegan or vegetarian phase, and that's usually when their health really takes a nosedive, and then they spend years trying to heal their body again. And so the fruit diet is very similar to a vegan diet. You're really just eating sugars and plant foods for the most part, and so you're just speeding up the rate at which your health is going to deteriorate. Also, you're going to destroy the dopamine receptors on the cell surface of your brain cells. And so the dopamine receptors in your brain are what sets the tone for your baseline dopamine, not just instantaneous dopamine that you can release when you have a cupcake or you go shopping. What's more important is your baseline dopamine, because that sets the tone for your general motivation and happiness and energy and productivity levels. And so whenever you're consuming sugars, you're releasing very high levels of dopamine, which is going to lead to a downregulation or destruction of the dopamine receptors or the D2 receptors. And so over time, your baseline dopamine is going to drop. And so by doing that, your baseline level of mood and energy is going to drop. Again, think of a cocaine diet. If you're taking cocaine to try and lose weight for an extended period of time, you're going to feel amazing initially because you're literally taking a stimulant, but then over time, you're going to have to increase the dosage to feel the same effects because you're going to build tolerance. Tolerance is simply a way to kind of override this destruction in your D2 receptors. And also by doing that, if you had a little bit of food addiction, and if you rank just a little bit on the scale, which would be very easy to overcome by healing the brain and understanding the addictive power of sugars, now when you do that, you're going to drive yourself further down the rabbit hole and you're going to increase the intensity of your food addiction. And so then it's going to require a little bit more drastic measures to heal this addiction. And it goes without saying, the more sugar you're consuming, the more inflammation you're introducing into your body. And if you have any form of autoimmune symptoms, they're going to get worse. You're going to have more leaky gut or intestinal permeability, and that means more autoimmune symptoms, worse skin problems, and possibly you'll create new food intolerances, so that now when you're off the diet, maybe you were able to eat eggs and now all of a sudden you'll develop a food sensitivity to eggs, and now to really feel good, you can no longer eat eggs. And of course, sugar is going to age you really, really fast. And so if you don't want to see premature wrinkles or deepening of lines and wrinkles that you already have, you may want to lay off the sugars. I promise you, the sooner you stop looking for shortcuts and the next trend, the faster you're going to start winning at life. Shortcuts don't exist. Trust me, I've looked for them all my life. I fell for every new gimmick, every new trend, every new supplement. All that did was just waste my time and my money. The only good thing that came out of that is that I no longer wrestle with the importance of working on my mental strength and my mindset. So now I can dedicate all of my mental bandwidth on executing my goals without wasting precious time negotiating whether or not there's an easier way. Every time you start looking for a way out, every time you try to negotiate your way out of doing what you know you're supposed to do, you're wiring your brain. You're literally creating brain connections that are becoming stronger and stronger with repetition over time, so that later on, discipline feels like this insurmountable task. It feels very painful now to you to be disciplined. And then you think that there's something wrong with you, but there really isn't. It's just that you've practiced not being disciplined. So the more you are strengthening the brain pathways of weakness and procrastination and not following through on what you know you need to do, you're weakening your discipline muscles. Discipline is just like any other muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it gets and the easier life feels. So I hope this video reminds everybody not to fall for this mania that's happening right now. And if you want to learn more about the diet that I follow that helped me lose those 35 pounds, I will send you a free copy of my guide, the 30-day carnivore diet challenge guide, when you sign up to my newsletter at drzaldivar.com/newsletter. And if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, check out my packages at drzaldivar.com/coaching. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.